So as always, leveling up the battle pass in MW3 and Warzone can be really long, really boring and really difficult. But in this video I'm going to show you how to make it as quick and as easy as possible to level up the battle pass and earn battle pass XP quickly for the third season on MW3 and Warzone. This video is going to provide you with all the best and fastest ways to level up tiers quickly in the game. It's going to be packed full of tips, so make sure you stay tuned towards the end, but if you do want to jump to a specific part of the video, there'll be timestamps in the description if you want to jump to a specific mode or some specific tips. Feel free to check out all my other Season 3 guides, like how to level up weapons fast, zombies guides, weapon unlock guides, that kind of thing. Make sure to drop a like if you find this useful. Before we carry on with the video, if you're looking to permanently unlock the new MW3 Mastery camos, or play in bot lobbies to max out your guns and unlock camos quickly, or get your hands on an instant delivery pre-made account, then be sure to check out MitchCactus.com. These guys are the biggest and most reliable sellers with tons of offerings for MW3 with completely safe and legitimate services on all platforms. So far they've almost 10,000 reviews on Trustpilot, so if any of that sounds good to you guys, then make sure to use code RAGER for 5% off for a limited time only. Check out the link in the description. And without further ado, let's get straight into this guide. Alright, so we'll start out with multiplayer first, then talk about zombies and finally talk about Warzone before talking about which mode is kind of best overall and which one to focus on. I'll make this video as short and as simple as possible for you guys. Starting out with multiplayer, much like all the other modes, you want to make sure that you're playing as much time as possible. The main factor involved in leveling up the battle pass is the time played. So you want longer matches as it's going to be more efficient. It's just spending more time in the game and less time in the lobby or loading in right at the game. So you actually want to be spending time in the game for as long as possible, and that's how you're going to do it with longer matches. Generally there'll be modes like domination, hardpoint, those kind of modes. Now as well as this, you obviously need to make sure you're doing well in the matches and getting XP, as that is the second most important factor. So first, time played, and second, make sure you're getting as much XP as possible in the game. So in terms of XP, what can we do to kind of boost the amount of XP you get while you're playing the game? Well, first things first, you want to make sure you're playing a good mode. This kind of varies all the time, and at the moment some of the best maps in the game will be ones like Rust, Shipment, Meat, Stash House and Das House. Those are kind of the smaller maps which are better for getting more kills. There's normally a small map mosh pit with some of those maps. They'll be around at some point during the season, but when Season 3 first launches, that's not going to be around, and instead what will be around is some of the new Season 3 maps. So there'll be about 6 different maps coming in Season 3, but the main ones you want to focus on will be Grow House, which is a new small map. It's remastered from Sphere map in Vanguard. Definitely worth giving that a go. As like I said, it's quite a small map, so it's going to be good. You're going to get lots of kills and so on. And the second map which you want to focus on in Season 3 is Emergency. This is a brand new small 6v6 map. It looks quite good. It looks like it's going to be quite fast paced, similar to ones like Meat and Stash House and so on. So definitely worth giving that a go. And then the third one, which will be coming out for Season 3 Reloaded, is Checkpoint, and this is actually repurposed from the Stronghold point of interest on the Rebirth Island map. So Rebirth Island's obviously coming in Season 3, and they're pinching part of that map to make this new Checkpoint map. There will be other maps, but these are the best smaller maps in the game. So definitely try and play these, or if not, like I say, the small map mosh pit with the other maps as well, including ones like Rust, Shipment, Meat, Stash House and Das House. As those maps, they're closer, you're going to be able to get more kills, it's going to be faster paced and just easier to level up. If there are no good 24/7 match mosh pits, which I kind of highly doubt, but if there aren't, you want to just play longer games with objectives and high amounts of XP. Again, ones like Domination, Hardpoint, Ground War, those kinds of modes. Sometimes they make hardcore versions of these modes, so occasionally they'll do like Hardcore Shipment or something like that. If that comes around, make sure you use that, because that's fantastic. It's even better for getting XP and therefore leveling up your battle pass. Now aside from mode, what else do you want to focus on? Well, you need an important class, and that's because there are some parts of the class which will boost the amount of XP you get, so it's definitely worth putting on the right things for your class. First, you want to equip the decoy grenade. You want to use these every time you spawn in, as if an enemy nearby to it dies, you're going to get decoy assist XP, and that can give you several thousand extra XP at the end of the game, literally just from using the tacticals. So throw them in, even if you're not properly using them, just throw them in to high flow areas of the map or objective places where they're going to go off near people basically. Make sure you're using the lethals, things like Semtex, Thermite C4. Make sure you're using a good field upgrade, so either the DDoS or the trophy system. DDoS obviously for DDoSing enemies and equipment, and trophy system, put it somewhere where people are going to be throwing equipment, as that will kind of neutralize it. And the fun thing you want to do is go to your streaks section and toggle from kill streaks to score streaks, as that way things like capturing objectives and so on will give you points towards these streaks. You want to obviously use your streaks, such as a UAV, counter UAV and something like a sentry turret. All of those parts of your class setup are going to get you more XP and therefore more battle pass XP and level up your tiers faster, so definitely worth using that. Aside from this, what else can you do in multiplayer? Well, obviously you want to make sure you've got a good class, and if you need to level up weapons fast to get better attachments, then do check out my weapon XP guide for Season 3. Also make sure you're using your kill streaks, equipment and field upgrades like I say, but also make sure you're destroying the enemy kill streaks, enemy equipment and enemy field upgrades with your weapon, as that's going to get you XP as well. Go for the objective as much as you can. This is going to get you a ton of XP, so if it's kill confirmed, pick up the tags. If it's domination or hardpoint, capture the enemy zones and defend the friendly ones from enemies, and then obviously get as many kills as possible. There is one more thing you want to focus on for multiplayer, and that is challenges. challenges. Now this is really important, it's often overlooked, but make sure you don't overlook it. So what you want to do is focus on all the different challenges that are in the game. So for multiplayer, there are daily challenges up to 9, there's weekly challenges up to 14 plus cool rewards. There's also the base Modern Warfare 3 calling card challenges, season 3 calling card challenges, and there's also the camo challenges as well. So going for like the Priceless and Interstellar Mastery camos. I have got a playlist with camo guides, so check that out if you guys need. And you also want to make sure with the challenges that you're overlapping them to make the grind as efficient as possible. So for example, if you've got a camo challenge that needs doing, and you've also got a daily challenge which like involves the same weapon category, or you need to get a certain number of kills with a piece of lethal equipment or whatever it is, just make sure you're overlapping it with other challenges that have similar requirements, and it just makes your grind a bit easier. Do all that, and like I say, that is the quickest way to rank up the battle pass in multiplayer. Now let's quickly go on to zombies. So for zombies, you want to bear in mind that, like I say, longer matches are more efficient as there's less time spent not in the game. So zombies is really good for battle pass XP. But you want to try and boost the amount of XP you earn from each aspect of the game, and I'm going to tell you guys how to do that now. So when you kind of finish the game, that you'll see there's a bunch of different sort of bonuses that come up, and you basically want to kind of boost each one of those to get more XP. Obviously, like I say, literally staying in the game longer is going to increase the time played, but how do you actually increase the XP? Well, first things first, make sure you have an exfil bonus, i.e. make sure you exfil. Also make sure you're getting lots of zombie kills. The more kills you get in the game, the more XP and so on. Normal zombies give you 20 XP, which doesn't sound like a lot, but 5 zombies will get you 100 XP, 50 zombies 1000, and so on. So it's definitely worth getting as many kills as you can. It's also more fun as well. Make sure you're also completing activities, doing lots of contracts, opening loot containers, visiting different areas of the map, and extracting miscellaneous items as well. If you do all those things, that's going to kind of boost the bonuses from the end of the game. But also don't forget that there's lots of story missions to do. I will have guides coming soon for the Act 1 to 3 story missions and how to complete them. And there's also the Act 4 ones as well. So there's a couple of Dark Ether Rift objectives you've got to do, and there'll be a new one coming in Season 3 Reloaded, so definitely make use of those, as there's lots of cool schematics, lots of objectives and things you can do, and it gives you a lot of XP as well. So definitely worth going for that. But most of it is going to come from the Act 1 to 3 story missions when you're doing lots of different missions. It's going to help you unlock cool stuff and give you lots of XP in the process. Now we'll talk in just a second about what you actually want to do when you get into a game of zombies, but there's a couple of things you want to put onto your class, similar to multiplayer, in order to kind of boost the amount of XP you get. So first of all, make sure you put on a good field upgrade. I like putting on the energy mine because when you set it off, it thins the zombie herds. You get tons of XP as well from killing all those zombies, so definitely worth using that. Make sure you put on a piece of lethal equipment like a Semtex grenade or a throwing knife or whatever it might be, just to kill some zombies. Make sure you're using stim or decoy grenades, and obviously if it's like a double battle pass XP weekend, or if you've got any double battle pass XP tokens, definitely throw one of those on as well. And when you're in the game, what do you want to do? Well, there's a couple of different things you can do to get lots of XP in zombies. The first thing you can do is just farm contracts. Now my favourite contracts are generally the bounty contracts and the deliver cargo contracts. Bounty obviously where you kill a high value target, and deliver cargo you get in the vehicle and deliver it somewhere else. They're very easy contracts and they're probably the best ones to go for. Other okay ones are ones like Spore Control. I'd avoid ones like sort of Defend Ground Station, Ether Extractor. They're all a bit more difficult, and also probably the Escort one as well. Now when you're doing these contracts, it's probably best to do them in higher tier zones if you can, because it gives you more money and more XP, but if not, tier 1 contracts are fine. If you guys are struggling to do it in the higher tier zones, I definitely recommend checking out my top loadouts video, which gives you the current most broken weapons in zombies. Some of them are incredibly overpowered, so it's definitely worth checking that out before anything get patched. Put some of those weapons on, as it will allow you to do the more difficult contracts like in the higher tier zones. The fastest way to do contracts basically is put on a really good weapon. Again, would recommend checking out that loadout video. Put on a good weapon and then head into the like tier 2 or tier 3 zone and basically just keep grinding contracts like bounties. I would say probably it's better to do it in the tier 2 zone just because you can complete them much faster and there's more of them, whereas in tier 3 it's a bit more difficult and there's not as many contracts. So what I would recommend, go to the tier 2 zone, put on a good weapon, literally do the bounty contract, find the enemy, kill them almost straight away with your weapon, then go to another bounty contract and keep doing that over and over again. Most of them will spawn in the sort of south and southwest region of the tier 2 zone, so definitely keep going around there for the bounty contracts, and that's kind of the fastest way to do contracts, but you can do other ones as well, whatever kind of is easiest. The other thing you can do is do outlast contracts. So there's that glitch where if you activate the PND, aim for about 90% capture rate, and then cancel the contract, the zombies will keep spawning in even though you've cancelled the contract. So it's definitely worth doing that as well. The zombies will keep coming in over and over again. You can keep getting kills. It's good for XP, weapon XP, and battle pass XP. It's also good for doing camos as well. The other thing you can do is exfil. So obviously there's quite a lot of zombies again around the exfil zone. Not as many as when the game first came out, but there's still quite a lot. So it's worth kind of farming exfils as well to get some XP. Just make sure you're using your gun, lethal equipment, kill streaks, field upgrade, that kind of thing. There'll also be quite a lot of special zombies as well. So again, more XP to be had by farming exfils. Now the only thing is, if you guys are doing the containment levels, there's got some great bonuses there. It can help you do better in the game. But unfortunately, if you do the exfil sequence but you don't get on the helicopter and therefore you don't exfil, it'll count as a fail. And I believe that means you drop down containment levels. So it's not worth doing doing that if you want to keep your containment level, but if you want to know more about that, I have made a guide about containment levels recently, so feel free to check that out. Basically, whatever you do when you finish, you can either farm exfils or literally just do it at the very end of your game. Exfil, get lots of kills from that exfil point, and then just get on the chopper, finish the game, and then repeat the process. The last thing you want to be doing in zombies is make sure you're doing the challenges. So again, do the daily challenges, the weekly challenges. There's some base Modern Warfare 3 calling card challenges, but also there's some seasonal challenges for zombies, and there's also the camo challenges, so you know, the Serpentine and the Borealis camos, and try and overlap all those challenges. So make sure you go for those challenges alongside the contracts, getting kills, all that stuff. And like I say, because it's such a long game of zombies, normally about an hour or so, it's a lot of time played, a lot of XP, and it's very efficient for getting the battle pass done. So I highly recommend it. Now finally, for zombies, what is the best way to level up your battle pass quickly? Well, again, you want to make sure you're playing longer matches as it's more efficient. You also want to make sure you're getting more XP. So again, make sure you get a good class. In terms of actually what you want to do in the game, you also want to make sure you're doing more looting, both of more money to help you buy more stuff, but it also gives you more XP, and also opening loot containers, whether that's boxes, duffel bags, whatever it might be. You can also run over bodies of dead enemies, find piles of cash, there's floor loot, you know, in unsearched areas, and doing that looting, again, like I say, give you more money and more XP, which is good. Obviously, you want to be getting more kills as well. Do as many contracts as you can. Ones like Scavenger, Intel, and Most Wanted are kind of the best ones. There's also Big Game Bounty, which is quite good as well. You want to try and go between them quickly with a vehicle, and obviously you want to survive longer if it's like Battle Royale, as that way the game will last longer and you have more progression towards your battle pass. You want to boost your placement bonus, so if it's Battle Royale, obviously you want to survive longer. If it's something like Plunder, you want to collect more cash. Also make sure you're getting kills from the pre-game lobby to boost that XP as well. Now, in terms of the best game modes for Warzone, it will kind of depend. In Season 3, there's going to be small map modes on ones like Vondel, probably Fortune's Keep, and Rebirth Island as well. That's the return of the new map for Season 3. So I suspect for small map modes, there's going to be probably 2 good ones that will hopefully be in the game. There'll be something like Rebirth Resurgence, which will probably be quite good, and there will also be Vondel Lockdown. As well as this, there will also be at some point the return of Plunder. I don't know what specific small map modes are going to be around, and it kind of changes a lot, so I won't talk about that. I will talk about the best way to level up the battle pass, and at the moment that will be Plunder. Obviously, if there's other modes instead, I'll make a separate guide for that, but mostly the Plunder is going to be the most important one. So for Plunder, it's really simple. Basically, what you want to do is you want to spawn in, and you want to kind of find an area of the map with few players but lots of buildings and places to search for loot containers. You obviously want to get to first place by earning as much money as possible, and you want to kind of do this by spawning in away from the flight path. So where lots of players are dropping, try and avoid that and go somewhere a bit quieter. Drop to an area, like I say, with lots of containers, whether that's loot boxes, duffel bags, fridges, whatever it might be, and basically just run around the map and open as many of these containers as you can, and just keep staying ahead and pushing to open as many of these containers as you can. Each one is going to get you 100 XP, and there's tons of containers to open. You can normally easily open 20 or 30 at least in the game, so it gives you a ton of XP literally just from opening boxes. Really simple. That will give you money as well, which will keep you ahead in terms of the game because you want to focus on the objective. You also want to keep an eye out for cash piles on the ground in unsearched areas like rooftops, unvisited rooms, that kind of thing, and you want to look out for money near dead players and kill as many enemies as you can, like I say, to get more cash and more XP. Obviously make sure you're doing, like I say, a few contracts along the way while opening these crates. Most Wanted is pretty good, especially because opening these containers will run down the Most Wanted time, so it makes doing that contract even easier. So I'd recommend pick up a Most Wanted contract, open some boxes, that will run down the Most Wanted time, then you'll finish that contract, you'll get a ton of XP and money, and then you keep going. Obviously it'll make you kind of a Most Wanted target, so you've got to be careful, but it's not too bad if you do it somewhere a bit quieter on the map. Keep doing as much as you can, like I say, to get the most money, kills, looting, contracts. Just keep pushing ahead, keep searching new areas. The main thing is the loot containers, but it's good to kind of do some contracts and get a few kills if you can as well. Really work with your teammates, make sure you're part of a team, as they can be earning more money as well, to boost your team's amount of money you earn and to boost the kills and contracts as well. And again, in Warzone, make sure you're doing the daily, weekly camo and seasonal challenges and try and overlap these as well. So when there's other modes in Warzone, we'll kind of talk about that, but mainly Plunder is the one you want to focus on. Now in terms of which modes are best, as always, it kind of depends on how well you do in each mode. Longer matches are generally better than shorter ones, like I say, and in my opinion, for Modern Warfare 3, Zombies is the most efficient if you get a good amount of XP, you know, you're getting kills or contracts or whatever. Small map mosh pit modes like Shipment, Rust, Meat, those kind of ones can be good if you're able to do well in the match, but then because of skill-based matchmaking, it's more variable. Sometimes you'll have slightly better games, and then a lot of the time you'll have more difficult games, so it's quite sweaty. So if you want a more consistently easy way to get the battle pass done, Zombies is best for Modern Warfare 3. For Warzone, it is great. I would say it's just as good, if not better than Modern Warfare 3, especially if you own Modern Warfare 3, because that means you get the bonus as well on on top of that, especially Plunder or Vondel Lockdown, but other modes can be good as well. I'm sure there'll be some new modes as well, and with Rebirth coming there'll be lots of new stuff, so I'll kind of make an updated guide, but at the moment that's kind of the best thing to focus on in the game. If you found this useful, make sure to drop a like on the video, check out my other Season 3 guides like how to level up weapons fast, zombies guides, weapon unlock guides, that kind of thing. Hope you found it useful. Feel free to subscribe to stay up to date with all my latest MW3 and Warzone videos, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.